darker, that, well, there is not a responsibility, but it's like, you could use that word, but to face it. If it's at this point in time, we know that we're going through the eye of a needle, and in a sense, we're birthing, we're coming out into a new world, and we're creating it as we're birthing ourselves, and therefore the dark and the light are here. Ooh,
it's crazy. I know. I'm watching it as you're saying it. I'm not interrupting.
So the dark and the light are here, in illuminated, clear, in total clarity, in a pristineness that they haven't, or acuteness, clarity they haven't been before, because of the place we're in, as a species on the planet, with the energy of the planet, which is unique in itself, which is transmuting, and the galaxy, and therefore that's all refracting out throughout the whole universe. There's something awakening within us that just snaps on like that, or it depends, it doesn't matter when, but it's just, it's, I feel the same as you, that there are points over the last few months in this particular lockdown situation, or COVID, whatever it is, it's I'll just say COVID-19. We facing the darkness without reacting. We don't need to react. We just, and we can dance with that. It's just a dance. Yeah, it's a dance, because our natural wisdom and everything we've embodied in terms of self-empowerment and DNA activation, inner exploration, the intellectual side, the energetic side, everything, it's all now alchemized into a very potent, possibly the most acute, most, I don't want to use the word important, but we're now in a place where that really matters, as far as facing, just looking head on at the dark energy that is sort of, and just saying, no, we don't agree, it's not welcome anymore. And but we have to, it's still an exploration for us how we do that. But I think we're almost, a lot of us, it will just happen. It's kind of just happening. We're not making big mistakes with that, because we know how sensitive and how powerful and potent this moment is for us all, for all of us.
Yeah. I love what you said. It made me, because it really helped me flesh out also this idea of the dance, right? Because I don't know if you've done 5 rhythms dance before. I'm sure some of the people who hear this, maybe they have, maybe they haven't. 5 rhythms dance is called like a moving meditation. So you basically go, you have a teacher who'll play different music, and it takes you through, you have to just basically let your body move in whatever way it wants to. But they take you through what's known as a wave. So there's 5 stages to the wave. I always get them in a slightly wrong order or whatever, but it's flow, lyrical, flow, stillness, staccato, chaos, and stillness. And so you kind of, you go through these phases where you're starting slow and you get into some sort of flow state, but actually it builds, and actually you go into this chaotic state where you literally don't know what you're doing with your body. I mean, it's been hilarious when I used to get into the chaos. Chaos was my most interesting phase of it, because I would then suddenly run out of, our normal ways of, moving or responding. And then eventually you kind of like, you're knocked out and you kind of calm down. And it's an incredible process of meditation, but in a physical way and with music. And what it's made me think of is I was watching a David Icke video the other day, and one of them, he had, it was just one of his kind of, daily little update things rather than one of his big sessions. And he was showing a film from probably the 70s. Interesting, keep coming back to the 70s and how we've lived through that time. And it was this guy, and some of the people of our age will probably remember it, where he's literally in a lockdown environment where everybody's in their homes, and they're watching TV broadcasts, and somebody suddenly goes against the general gist of things and says, do you know what, I've had enough. I can't take it anymore. And he says, I'm going to get out. And he goes to his window and he starts shouting to the street. He said, I've had enough. I can't take it anymore. And I'm not going to take it anymore. And then his family are watching him on the TV screen. And the young girl goes to her window. And her dad says, what are you doing? She says, I'm just going to see if anybody's going to join in with him. Because he says, look, everybody else, join me if you've had enough and you can't take it anymore. And so she's in the same street as him. So she hears him do it. And then she suddenly looks across because somebody else hears this guy. And the other guy suddenly goes, I have had enough. I can't take it anymore. I'm not going to take it anymore. And then, of course, the same way everybody bloody doing this, everybody was doing, I'm not going to take it anymore, right? And that is what, it's about what form do we then materialize that in our, this is this is what I meant about, awakening for me. It's not about a sweetie anymore. It's about and actually in relation to the dance, I think within the different phases of a dance, there can be a moment where it could be anger, and it's about shouting in somebody's face, a bully, basically. I mean, let's get real about this, Mike. Do you know what I mean? I can feel it coming up, so I have to just sort of say it, right? This is what's known as letting the flow happen, isn't it? That there's this thing about how we as a group, our peers, our friends, our business associates, our doctors, even our local politicians or people that are in our circle of, who we interact with. We're very aware of how we respect each other and how we interact with each other. Meanwhile, there's a circle of people that are part of our reality and actually they're having an impact on our reality that we don't speak to, that we don't even know what they look like. They're faceless. And yet, I know, if I speak personally, a lot of my decisions or my thoughts, if it's about sharing this post on Facebook or doing this talk or what do I say, even like what do I say with you right now, it tends to be, and probably rightly so, it's always in relation to, I don't know who is listening to this, I have to surrender to a certain extent in who will listen. But, I know it'll probably be a bunch of people that we probably know, right? But, or, similar, but, and beyond that. But what I'm getting at is that there's these people who are the ones who are really, the puppet masters who are actually keeping us all in lockdown, who, in a way, we think about less when we're doing the talking or the posting. And of course, the whole thing with this, there was a great video I saw recently. It was a clip from A Bug's Life where you got these ants and they're being bullied by the grasshoppers who are much smaller in number, but they tell the ants they're a piece of crap and they're just workers. And the ants, eventually one little ant sort of says, I've had enough. I'm actually you don't respect us. And I've had that physically with certain people in my life in the past where you get into certain bullying situations, you stand up to them and there's a whole energy thing that happens. And you work through it, and you go through that phase. And after a while, I've had it with certain people. When I don't back down on that energetic level, eventually they escalate. But then when they realize I'm not going to bring myself down, and this could be I'm in a state of anger for sure. It's a state of fear and anger. So I think this is one of the things about spiritual where it's a bit, people want to avoid fear and anger. But actually, I think as part of a dance, there's a moment in time where we have to literally go through that.
I agree. And
then come out the other end where we're not cowed down and we can then do a dance with a big smile on our face because, but we have to do that rather than, I think a lot of people I sort of see sometimes where we're kind of holding back, constantly, and it's because we're saying we want to be. If we're saying we want to focus on the solution, that's fine. But sometimes the solution is getting out to the window and saying, "I've had enough. I'm not doing it anymore," and encouraging anyone else who wants to join in to do that, and not have to get everybody to do it, but we do our bit. And then if we're all doing our bit, then suddenly everybody's Spartacus, and it spreads. Like Alex Jones, I think, was saying, courage is contagious. Then it spreads, and that's to me about, really, to be honest, that it's the awakening process for me, where I know this stuff. It's like, now what am I going to do about it? And I feel like there's a responsibility to encourage all of us that feel that we can, and we're out of our comfort zone when we don't. That we all have to. I love the fact that you've asked me to have this conversation, because you were the person who brought out that little phrase to me ages ago, which I was aware of, but you put it in writing, which was around the imaginal cells, who, when we're going as a group, as a species or whatever, to, a catalytic phase of, thinking about going from a caterpillar to a butterfly, and how different our world is going to be. The reason why we're having this conversation, as far as I can understand it, is because we are waking up. We want to talk about that and put those vibrations out and support and inspire other people along their journey. And, I'm certainly always open to, people who want to pick my brains on something in relation to their own, experience and what might be their next stage. But, how do we, as a group, come together, the people who have, because we're doing this because I think we have a very strong sense of solutions and where we could go if we just get through this fear, anger, and shakeout phase. And what I heard about, actually, it was interesting. Someone recently, I shared your words, and she came back to me and she said, yeah, apparently what happens in this phase is that the actual organism, the caterpillar, is going through a lot of toxicity. You probably notice, and so the toxins are there. And so if you imagine all the other cells, they're feeling toxic, and so they start attacking the imaginal cells, and it's very important at this time for the imaginal cells to actually find each other.
Yes. Because
otherwise they'd get killed. I know if I stand up on my own and say too many things, I'm still holding back here. We know we're kind of going a certain point with this. We can always go further, but I'm going so far today. But it's like, we need to find each other so that we can get stronger and stronger as a grid, and then the rest of the cells can see that this is a real thing. It's not just loony bins.